Shut up! It's not your time anymore. Hello. Ciao. Ciao ragazzi. Come state? Are your hands as dry as mine? Are you as sad as me? Then that's great because, well, sometimes cooking helps, right? I know why I'm sad. My fingers are naked. It's probably better when I'm cooking anyway. Today is an exciting day because we're gonna fight our sadness. Okay, drama over. Today, we're gonna focus on one ingredient and make a lot of recipes with that ingredient. We're gonna be looking at tofu for this video. Maybe there is another ingredient that I can dedicate a whole video to, but I feel like tofu is so diverse and can be used in so many different ways and recipes and everything. I am about to throw my laptop out of the window. I'm just booting it up. There is no need for it to be so loud. Where was I? Tofu. Tofu is an ingredient that I used to not like, which makes me particularly excited to make this video because I now like it. There are still ways I prefer my tofu. Actually, I'll take it any way I can get it, but there's one way that I'm still struggling to... Not even struggling, I just don't like that much. But I'll eat. Which isn't like a pho, for example. Obviously, I don't eat meat, so you will get like fried tofu in your pho usually. But obviously it's soup, and then the fried tofu will be so soggy, and even the crust will get all soggy, and that's just not my favorite way of eating tofu. But maybe we'll find a new favorite way to make tofu in this video. But first, we're actually gonna start by making our very own tofu. But no, we're gonna make tofu from anything but soybeans. I have chosen red lentils. You can choose a lot of other, like lentils, for example.
Peas, lentils, mummies.
Because this has to technically rest for a couple of hours, if not a day. We're gonna get started with that one, hoping that maybe by the end of the video it will have solidified already. I got started using 138 grams of red lentils, which I then realized I should probably give a rinse. So I did that, and once that was done, I added some boiling water to them, just enough to cover them, and then I added some extra because I was afraid it wasn't enough. You're supposed to let that rest for at least 15 minutes, which is where we're at now. No, we're probably at like 25, because I was dancing. And now we're just gonna blitz that. Now we're gonna have to heat it up in a pot. You can leave it like that, or you can season it and use a couple of spices to spice it up and make it a less boring tofu. But also, I don't know, red lentils do have a strong flavor. Sometimes it reminds me of a coin flavor. Not President Coin. Oh, that was wrong. You know, I'm not Katniss Everdeen, don't come for me. The seasonings that we're gonna add are half a teaspoon of paprika powder, half a teaspoon of chili powder, half a teaspoon of cumin powder, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and half a teaspoon of salt. The pot on medium heat. So apparently, ideally, we want all of the water in the mixture to evaporate. So that's how long we're gonna mix this for. Are we there already after a couple of minutes? This is pretty thick already, so I think we're gonna leave it there. We're actually gonna put this into like a Tupperware. I'm gonna put a bit of oil in so it doesn't stick later on. This was pretty easy. It's just the waiting is gonna annoy me. Also, we don't know if it worked yet. This almost seems ready to fry already, so I'm just like, do we really need to wait overnight? How do I smooth this out? I feel like fingers work best. We'll put this into the fridge now, and then I'll move on to the next recipe, but you'll move on to me air frying this. Hello, I'm back. It's been around 5-ish hours, considering that my tofu was like basically done already. I think we should be fine now. It doesn't look like tofu. Period. It smells good though. Let's hope we can get it out in one piece. We can. Hallelujah. It looks like brain materia. Questionable look-wise, even though I tried to flatten it as much as possible. Now we've just got one final step. cut this into cubes. We're just gonna pop this into the air fryer for 15 minutes, shaking halfway through. All right, it should be done. Okay, they do look the same. Ooh, but they're crunchy. They look like croutons. Not much to see, so we're just gonna try. Chewy on the inside. The seasoning is really great. That's why this tastes really great. The texture is a little bit weird. It is giving bread to me a little. It doesn't taste too lentil-y, so if you're not into red lentils, that's okay. But it's a good alternative if you don't like soybean-based tofu. This feels more like a snack, although I will be able to eat it with something that we will make in this video, which you will never know what it is unless you stay until the end of the video. Hello? Hello. Tofu is obviously very common in Asian cuisine. I think we know that, so obviously we will be making a couple of Asian inspired recipes here. And the next one is definitely a Korean recipe, so not just inspired. We are gonna be making TOFU shorim. TOFU shorim. When I say it like that, it doesn't even sound Korean. Not that I really I don't speak Korean. It almost sounds like Turkish, no? But that's how she pronounces it in the video, and it's her mom's recipe, so I feel like it must be right?
My mom's TOFU shorim.
So you can correct me, but you will be wrong. So have I been corrected then or wronged? Basically, this is like tofu in a chili spicy sauce. For which I'm gonna have to chop a couple of ingredients. So I'll be right back in just a chop. All right, that was a lot of mincing and chopping, but we finally got there. Here is what you need. Lots of sauces and tofu, obviously. I've chosen this. I hope this is a firm one. I went to an Asian store and I'm not sure. It had a lot of like soft tofu, but none that said firm. So I'm hoping that this is firm because it says pressed tofu and it looks firmer than the other ones. Then you also need 2 tablespoons of water, 2 tablespoons of corn syrup. I finally bought it. 2 tablespoons of plum extract. I wasn't able to find it, so comments suggested using honey instead. 1 tablespoon of sesame oil, 1.5 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1.5 tablespoons of fish sauce, which is actually expired, but surely it's fine with sauces. 1/2 tablespoon of technically gochugaru, but they didn't have that, so they also say you can use gochujang. 1 tablespoon of neutral oil, 1/2 tablespoon of minced garlic, 15 grams of finely chopped red Fresno pepper and finely chopped green jalapeno, 15 grams of finely chopped yellow onion, 1 chopped green onion, divided, whatever that means, I never know, and black pepper. Let's start with the tofu. First you gotta open up the safe, which has got a lot of say. This doesn't look very firm to me. Apparently you rinse it underwater. I've never done that. Pat dry with paper towel. Cut into 16 equal squares. It's so jiggly. 16 more minutes. Get ready, game on. Flop, 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 so that you can only see the twop. Pat dry the top. And then sprinkle a bit of salt only on the top. Now this can go to the side. And we can prepare the sauce. And the minced garlic. Well, I didn't mince the garlic that well, did I? Add in the green jalapeno and the red Fresno pepper and 1/2 of the green onion. Mix and set aside. It does look like in the video, so I'm confident. Time to pan fry. When do we put in the... It never tells me to add the white onions, so I think I'm just gonna add a bit as well. But now we have to pan fry. In some neutral oil over medium-high heat. In goes the tofu, salt side down. Not for too long, only about 45 minutes. In the meantime, we can put salt on the other side. What do you mean only 45 minutes? My microphone died. So once they're golden brown from each side, it looks very pale in the camera, you increase the heat to high and add the sauce on top. And then with a spoon, you just keep adding the veggies on top of the tofu until the sauce has thickened, which should take about 4 to 5 minutes. I've got too much sauce. So technically most of your sauce should kind of evaporate or soak into the tofu, but we didn't have enough tofu, so that didn't happen. But I think it's good enough. I just let it sit a little while longer, but then I got afraid of it burning because it kind of smelled very questionable, so I just stopped. You kind of serve immediately once you've topped it with some more spring onion, if you want to, and also some black pepper apparently. It looks good, looks very colorful. I'm gonna save the sauce for something else probably. Looks very juicy and good. I feel like that was not the right kind of tofu. I wish it had a bit of bite to it. The only bite really comes from the spring onion that we've just added. But flavor-wise, this is really nice. Obviously, this is very flavorful. I mean, we've added a lot. It's sweet, not too spicy, but the spices do go well together. Obviously, this is just a side dish, and you don't really have it on its own. And as a side dish, I think this is really nice. I just need a bit of rice, especially because I've got so much sauce. Tasty. Wow, half an eternity later, we can make recipe number 2, and I'm excited for this one because I chose it. No, I'm excited for this one because I kept seeing this recipe on social media everywhere, especially around Valentine's Day. But I could never make it because it is called Marry Me Chicken. I just had FOMO. I felt left out and I wanted to be part of the cool gang. And so finally, luckily for this video, I found Marry Me Tofu. And finally I can get married or I can propose to someone. Hopefully by the end of the video I will, or by the end of this recipe, I will have found someone to propose to, but not looking good as of right now. Well, you need a lot of things, so we should get started because looking at all of these things is doing too much with me. I just want to clear up everything. This is actually a full-on vegan recipe. It's also quick and easy. Once you've chopped everything, at least the quick isn't a thing anymore. Especially also because we started by pressing 1 block of tofu. This time I got the right kind. As you can see here, it's still pressing for like half an hour. Also, we're making our own cashew cream. For that, I've been soaking 1/4 of a cup of cashews in double the amount of hot water. The rest I'm just gonna show you while we're using it, I think. We're gonna start by making the dredge. I just found out it's called. Who would have thought? Who'd have thunk it? Hey Dochi. What's up Dochi? This is what we're gonna roll our tofu in before we fry it. Into a big bowl, we're gonna put 1/4 of a cup of all-purpose flour, which I think was 45 grams. We add about a teaspoon of salt, about 1/4 of a teaspoon of black pepper. Obviously I'm eyeballing this because I'm crazy like that. I'm crazy but you like that. Damn, they think I'm crazy. A teaspoon of garlic, a teaspoon of onion powder, and I'm very proud of my onion powder because turns out it's very hard to get onion powder somehow. I can never find it, but it's easy to find these like pre-diced dried onion. I basically just put it in a food processor and now I've got onion powder. I'm the smartest person ever. And then poultry seasoning, I don't know what that is, so I looked it up. And apparently it's just a mixture of thyme, nutmeg, sage, and marjoram. Mix it all together. Next we can prep our tofu, which has been pressed so it looks good. Spoiler for later. We're just gonna cut it into cubes. Also spoiler for later, sun-dried tomato. I mean, it's kind of falling apart. It's because it's handmade, you know? I think I do want these pieces to be a bit smaller. Now we have to add the tofu to our dredge. You're the wind that's underneath my wings. Add your tofu and make sure that all sides are coated. I'm gonna give it my best. Okay, everything seems coated. Ah, wow. Woohoo! Now we can pan fry it. Obviously, we already know how to do that. Using 2 tablespoons of vegan butter. Mine is not vegan. on both sides until they're golden brown for 5 to 7 minutes, so maybe 6. While our tofu is doing its thing, I think we can take care of our cashews. Drain it and then add 2/3 of a cup of fresh water and it's basically almost the last step. I mean, you could cook some rice. I'm not gonna cook rice just yet because I think I'm only gonna try it now. When I actually have this, I'm gonna make some rice. It's all about the sauce anyway. We're about to saute the aromatics. Ta-da! So, we've got 1 shallot and I still have some of the white onion left, so I'm gonna add some of that as well. 4 garlic cloves. You know, I still have this spring onion, so might as well add that too. Then just some Italian seasoning and some chili flakes and just some paprika. And we're actually gonna heat it in some more butter and some sun-dried tomato oil. Later we're gonna add some veggie broth, a cup, some chopped parsley and basil, as you already saw, about a 1/2 cup of sun-dried tomatoes, and 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast or parmesan. That should be it. Salt and pepper, obviously. And also, obviously, our cream. We're gonna set aside the tofu. So we can use this pan and add some more butter and 2 tablespoons of the sun-dried tomato oil. Add the shallot and some salt and saute until it's translucent. Garlic. I guess the spring onion and a bit of the chili. Paprika. Italian seasoning and chili flakes. Saute 1 or 2 more minutes. Then we add the broth and the cream and the sun-dried tomatoes. My broth was no longer hot. Bring this to a simmer and then reduce the heat to low. I don't like how this looks. The separation of the cream and the oil. I think you should come together. Let me help. Ooh, but this smells good. Then we add the tofu and let that simmer for another 6-ish minutes. I don't really understand pan frying tofu and then adding it to a sauce because that beautiful crust that we created will be gone. See you in 6 minutes. I mean, this looks tasty, right? If you could smell it. You would also say it smells tasty. Even tastier once we've added the fresh basil and parsley. Wow, now it looks like a meal. And some ground black pepper. Well, and salt to taste, but I haven't tasted it yet, so. I could see this also with just some naan or just some bread in general. Looking at it, I can already tell that I probably should have cut the tofu into smaller cubes, but that's something for next time, which I'm definitely gonna make this again. A plastic spoon so that I don't ruin the beautiful pan. That's a good scoop, but also a very hot scoop. This needs some rice. It's very salty. This tastes really good. So flavorful. I love the sun-dried tomatoes in there. Hold on. This is really nice. Again, why did we fry the tofu? But honestly, I don't even care. Care in the air. Yeah. I think in theory this wasn't a lot of work. Somehow it just took me forever. Now I still have to cook some rice. Damn. Pushing my limits. I need to stop. Need you to stop. Asking me for shit about this recipe, but you can ask me about the next recipe. The last recipe should be fairly quick to make. This time we're gonna make a Vietnamese version of tofu. A Vietnamese tofu recipe. Not gonna lie, this video did not go viral. I don't know, I thought it was so cute, the way it was narrated.
Whatever you do not combine tofu and tomato.
I just had to try it. Especially also because I don't see a lot of there probably are, but they're not super common here. Asian recipes with tomato instead of other stuff. I don't know if this has a proper name. Vietnamese tofu and tomato sauce. Her secret recipe that knocked her British husband's socks off. It's probably because it's easy to prepare, so here's what you need. Obviously tofu. I just tried to press the other tofu. It turns out I got the wrong kind. So I'm using my normal tofu now, which is not enough technically, but we're just gonna pretend it is. And I also cut it into slices. Then you need about 4 diced tomatoes, 1 shallot diced, 1 green onion, a bit of sugar, and some premium mushroom seasoning powder or chicken powder. This is new. I just got it today. Now I want to eat risotto. Risotto. And some fish sauce again. Or you can use salt. And some pepper. First, until golden brown, we're gonna fry the tofu, but you already know this. Once they look like they've been to a beach holiday, she says you can set them aside. I'm not even gonna take them out of the pan, honestly, just off the heat. And then in a new pot, we are going to heat up some oil, as you can see. To which we're then gonna add the shallots.
When your kitchen smells like your grandma's,
Mine is dead, but anyway. Add the chopped tomatoes. Season with fish sauce. The thing is, she doesn't really say how much she uses. She only shows us. And a bit of salt. And now have it on high, because I do want this to sizzle. And we add some mushroom powder. I think this is how much she added. Maybe a bit more. Smells interesting. And a bit of sugar. Let it bubble until the tomatoes break down into a saucy mess, she says. I guess I'll wait 2 more minutes, but technically we're there. Then the tofu goes in my case, not that much. Stir, 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 stir. Then we can cover for 10 minutes. I'll be back. Alright, let's have a look at our Vietnamese tofu in tomato sauce. Oui, it looks good. Thank God we fried that tofu, right? Now just add some spring onion and black pepper. And then you can serve this deliciousness over some rice. If you have rice, unlike me. Honestly, the fish sauce doesn't really do it for me in there, smell-wise. My tomato to tofu ratio is a little off, but does it really matter? Like, I can always add more tofu, right? Serve it on a platter. Well, we've seen it all now. Now we gotta try it all. More texture. Ooh, salty. That sauce is tasty. I can see why you need to eat rice with everything, because everything's salty. Except for me. I would be salty if this wasn't tasty. But luckily, it is tasty. Well, yes, if Miss Girl had made this for me on our first date, then yes, I would have fallen for her as well. Flavor-wise, the fish sauce works in there. It's just, it doesn't smell good. Such a rich tomato sauce. Maybe the mushroom is the secret. That's really tasty. I hope I will make that more often. My God, I love tofu. My God. Alright guys, is it just me or did we make so much food in this video? I do have a couple of leftovers. I think the marimi tofu is my favorite thing I've done today. And these with the marimi tofu, heavenly. Thank you guys so much, really, for watching this video, sticking around, and hopefully again next week. Maybe some DIYing again. That's something we used to do. Well, you gotta stick around and find out. Before we find out, I wanna find out what your favorite tofu-based recipe is, or tofu recipe, or anything tofu. Tell me. And once you've commented that, I wanna thank you guys so much for watching this video. Y entonces nos vemos la próxima vez. Y bye. Bye.